Greetings and welcome. You're tuned into TMH's Daily English News. The headlines for today include the members of the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia are scheduled to travel to Ethiopia for their first visit on a working visit. The leadership and community of Maqala University in Tigray held a congratulatory event for the Maqala founding president, University Professor Miteku Haile, and despite conflict and uncertainty, women runners from Ethiopia's Tigray region are becoming a rising force to be reckoned with. As we move on to our main updates, the government of Tigray, through its External Affairs Office, released a statement announcing the members of the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia, an independent investigative body which was set up by the United Nations Human Rights Council to investigate all atrocities committed during the genocidal war on Tigray, are scheduled to travel to Ethiopia for their first working visit. The government of Tigray, committed as always, has been through a thorough, credible, independent investigation of all atrocities committed during the war on Tigray, which welcomes all of the visits. Still, although the government of Tigray has publicly stated its approval of the commitment to cooperating with the Commission, and it's profoundly concerning that the Commission has been unreasonably slow in reaching out to the government of Tigray as well. The statement alludes to the extensively documented by the international community, and the people of Tigray have been on the receiving end of visage atrocities and investigations of which is at the heart of the Commission's chief justifications for existence. As the premier human rights advocacy organizations such as Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, as well as independent media outlets, have cataloged the invading forces and have committed the continuing large-scale human rights violations in Tigray that amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity as well. The statement underlined that Tigray is the epicenter of invaders' genocidal carnage, and for these reasons, the people of the government of Tigray must be treated as indispensable interlocutors of the Commission's investigative journey. While the government of Tigray, as a matter of principle, committed to make the Commission's work its success, it has grave concerns about the probable contours of its investigations going forward. Adding, if the Commission's work is to be taken seriously, it must insist on the full cooperation from the Abiy Ahmed's regime, demanding that the officials not try to interfere with the Commission's work in the ways that it would call into question its independence or impartiality. As an internationally mandated independent entity, the Commission, not the genocidal Abiy Ahmed regime, should dictate the terms of this investigation moving forward, and in practical terms, such a move includes avoiding the temptation to use the discredited joint investigation between the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission as a foundation for its investigation. While the government of Tigray appreciates the work that the OHCHR does, its disastrous decision to conduct a joint investigation with an entity established by and accountable to the very state being investigated for committing heinous atrocities against the people of Tigray has set them back the causes of justice and accountability. The statement continued with emphasizing the paramount importance that the Commission's chart its own independence course unencumbered by the prior investigations committed, and it is fair to say that the joint investigation's only value lies in its confirmation of the pitfalls of the collaborating with an entity that takes its commands, from the very state that stands accused of grave violations of international law. Concluding with the government of Tigray's confidence that the Commission will discharge its responsibilities with the utmost integrity and remains committed to making the Commission's work a complete success. And as part of that commitment, the government of Tigray has established a high-level task force with full authority to manage all cooperations on this matter and remains extremely committed, and including at the highest levels, to engage the international commissions of the human rights experts on Ethiopia as they begin their much-anticipated work. As we move on to our next update, the leadership and community of Maqala University in Tigray held a congratulatory event in Maqala University for founding president, Professor Miteku Haile, on his recent award as a laureate of the 2021 World Agriculture Prize by the Global Confederation of Higher Education Associations for Agriculture and Life Sciences, the GSTS board released a statement on Saturday where the board of directors and the entire leadership and all of the members of the Global Society of Tigray Scholars and Professionals extended their heartfelt congratulations to Professor Miteku Haile on the occasion of his recipient of the 2021 World Agriculture Prize from the Global Federation of Higher Education Association for Agriculture and Life Sciences. The award ceremony for this prize, given by the Global Confederation of the Higher Education Association for Agriculture and Life Sciences, in recognition of his outstanding achievements in agriculture and life sciences education and research, was held all the way back in the 21st of June 2022. Tragically, due to the ongoing medieval siege imposed on Tigray, Professor Miteku Haile was not able to receive this prestigious accolade in person, but only via virtual. Professor Miteku is one of the millions of Tigrayans whose entire life has been devastated by the war declared on Tigray in November of 2020 by the Ethiopian government and its allies, as the statement underlined, continuing to remind the international community of all of the unimaginable atrocities and wanton destructions of infrastructure and human lives on the massive scale that have been followed by a complete siege and blockade of the entire Tigray region, cutting off over 7 million people from the rest of the world without access to most of their basic and essential services indispensable for survival. Academics and professionals of international renown, such as Professor Miteku, have been denied the right to work in their field, which is a loss not only for Tigray or Ethiopia, but to Africa in whole at the world large. This stark reality has probably been articulated by poignant messages from reputed professionals within the Tigray region. Despite conflict and uncertainty, women of runners in Tigray's region, Ethiopia, are becoming a rising force. And on Saturday, the 23rd of July, Ethiopian Gudaf Tigrai held off late challengers to win the women's 5,000 meters of the World Championships as world record holder Letesenbet Gedai faded down the straight to miss the podium. Tokyo bronze medalist Tigrai traded the lead with compatriot Gedai in the World 10,000 meter championship throughout the race until the pack took off for the final lap. Gudaf Tigrai spoke to the reporters after and said, "I've been training well for 1,500 meters, and this helps spring on the home stretch," she says. Who collected silver in the 1,500 meter earlier in the meet. This win is for all of Ethiopia, she says. After the race was over, a fan was seen running onto the field to hand the flag of Tigray to Letesenbet Gedai, and then he picked her up and the world champion Gudaf Tigrai as well to celebrate their accomplishment, which he was later apprehended by the security and taken away for. The Tigray region has now been under conflict from the federal government of Ethiopia since the 4th of November in 2020, and when a reporter covering the World Athletics Championship in Oregon asked a fan who goes by Ma'arag Mokonnen what he did and why he did it, this is what he had to say.
Well, my name is Ma'arag, so I just been voice for the voiceless. Right now, when me and you speaking, there's genocide going on in my country, that's what we present this one. And both the athletes are from my country, specific from my area, so they're not able to see their family, their sisters, their fathers. So I'm just telling them, you're okay, you're good, you did this. So there is no internet, there is no phone, there is no, those two athletes, they de-escalated their family. So I'm just being here to support and be voice for the voiceless. That's all.
He goes on to explain why he felt like this moment couldn't pass without him taking advantage of the platform and how huge it is to advocate for and be the voice of the voiceless, including the athletes themselves, since they couldn't publicly go on record and speak about the conflict either.
It just came to me. I didn't plan it. I mean, I was working so hard when this is happening, trying to support my family, my people, but I never get a chance to be a voice, and I see this is a good chance, to let the world know, so especially for them, they cannot speak, they cannot say whatever they want on the media because, they're athletes, right? So that's what I was trying to do.
Ma'arag made sure Letasambet and Guraf felt the received and loved from not only himself, but the millions of people currently under siege in the Tigray region who would undeniably be proud of them as well if they were aware of their accomplishments.
I kissed her feet.
Why?
She deserved that. I kissed her feet on behalf of the whole Tigrayan people, because they're not able to see her as well. You understand? So for her being Tigray and winning these all gold medals, you know, she deserves. It's like a message from the people to her.
After winning this prestigious award, Guraf Tigrai was doing post-interviews where in one encounter she was asked about the flag and the man who ran up to her, which is immediately followed by her translator cutting the reporter off, affirming him those types of questions were off limits.
The guy ran out with the Tigray flag. Can you talk about how you felt about that?
Sorry, no, this question is not good for us, okay?
Saifa Sadlase Gabramesqal reacted on his official Twitter account saying the Ethiopian regime's Karday sent to spy on the Tigrayan athletes at the WCH Oregon 22 is seen here prohibiting the Women's World 5,000 champion Guraf Tigrai from committing and commenting on Tigray's genocide and conflict currently ongoing. After Ambassador Hammer begins his first week as special envoy to the Horn of Africa by meeting with the Ethiopian diaspora, he followed suit with plans on traveling to Egypt, the UAE, and Ethiopia. The United States Department released a statement through a media noted in which it stated Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa, Mike Hammer, will travel to Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and Ethiopia from July 24th to August 1st. He will provide U.S. support towards forging a diplomatic resolution to issues related to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam that would achieve any interests of all parties and contribute to more peaceful and prosperous region of Ethiopia again. In Addis Ababa, Ambassador Hammer will also consult with the African Union, under whose auspice the GERD talks occur. In addition, while in Ethiopia, Special Envoy Hammer will have an opportunity to review progress on delivery of humanitarian assistance and accountability for human rights efforts to advance peace talks between the Ethiopian government and the Tigrayan authorities. The statement also added that the United States remains committed to advancing diplomatic efforts in support of an all-inclusive political process towards lasting peace, security, and prosperity for all of the people within Ethiopia. That concludes our news for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.